What's up and what's going on, fellow fanatics? We're trying something new here called Super Thanks. We've got a ton of people that watch these clipped videos that aren't always available to watch during the live stream that leave comments or questions down below. Here's why this is cool. With Super Thanks, you can now drop your comment or question anytime during the video. In the following live stream, I will go over all the Super Thanks from the day before. It's a cool way for people that aren't able to watch live to still be able to have your voice heard or questions answered to be a part of the Q&A. And it's also a great way to support the channel. As always, we appreciate all your continued love and support, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Okay, who here hasn't been to space? You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
One of the other things here that I was going to get into was the article that Game Rant put out. Black Panther recast Tchalla movement may have been right about Wakanda Forever. Again, this was sent to me by Silver Wishes. So Silver Wishes, again, shout out to you if you are watching. Game Rant saying that Black Panther the recast Tchalla movement may have been right about Wakanda Forever. So I'm just going to go down here to the part that I was reading earlier. Now, if you would like, I will go ahead and put this in the chat for you too. If you would like to go read this in its entirety, you are more than welcome. I am just going to read the part there where they talk about, at the bottom here, they said Boseman's thoughts on Black Panther, because honestly, that's all that fucking matters. When we talk about this stuff, when we come in and we talk about Black Panther, T'Challa, what Chadwick wanted, the movement, all that kind of stuff, everybody always likes to come in, the anti-recasters, and say, well, you don't know Chad, you don't know what Chad wanted, blah, blah, blah. Even though we've all pointed out in many different videos that we've done where we've played the interviews of Chadwick saying what he wanted, or saying that he wanted to pass the baton on, never wanting the role to stop with him, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. We've all said this. This, again, is more receipts just adding to that. This says Chadwick Boseman once called Tchalla his most important role, which is quite a bold statement for an actor of his caliber. And seeing the impact that the first Black Panther had, it's hard to disagree with that notion. 42 told the story of Jackie Robinson, one of sport's greatest figures, but Black Panther had access to millions of young viewers worldwide, and instead of depicting the harsh history of those of African descents, it's imagined a reality unlike any other. Exactly. That's why we talk about why it's so important. How many times have I sat here and said, one of the other reasons it's important, not just for the United States, North America, to see people of color in that position, but the outside world, for China, for, how they, would taking Finn and putting him at the very back of the Star Wars poster, or covering Chadwick's face to not show his blackness in the Black Panther. Just, it's important for other nations, other countries, other people to see us in a light that's not the absentee father, not the villain, not the criminal, not the this or that, the thug or whatever. To see us as kings, even if it's fiction, even in that fictional state. I mean, not that we weren't kings and queens, that's another story. But yeah, to see us in those positions, so that last part there was very important. Black Panther is the peak of Afrofuturism. It's the sole mainstream product that portrays an advanced African society that was never shackled by colonizers. And even if its franchise's imagery stays intact, Wakanda Forever is still missing its king. Boseman understood this, and while his true desires was never made public, his own brother has come out to say he believes that the late actor would have probably preferred a full recast. Above all things, Boseman was a very serious actor. He went to Howard University to learn the craft and perfected it for years in theaters before landing his first big break in 42. As an artist, it is easy to imagine he may have seen Black Panther as a bigger entity than himself, and he did. He's talked about that in interviews, thus understanding the importance of the role to exist and why he tackled the part, wanting people to accept T'Challa as an icon rather than himself. That is what acting is all about. Oh my gosh, who wrote this? These are literally things that we've all been saying. Every recaster, every person that is pro recast has been saying these exact things. This is coming from this is Game Rant, bro. This ain't coming from who did it down the streets articles. This is Game Rant. This is a credible source that is writing this, that said, I'm going to read that last part there one more time. That said, he viewed Black Panther as a bigger entity than himself, thus understanding the importance of the role to exist and why he tackled the part wanting people to accept T'Challa as the icon rather than himself. That is what good acting is all about. T'Challa as the icon, not the fucking Black Panther. As because somebody commented on our video today and said, get over it. You know, Shuri is the Black Panther in the comics at one point. You've still got his son. His son is now going to be the new male Black Panther. Everyone keeps every anti-recaster keeps saying that. The new Black Panther, the new Black Panther, we're not talking about the Black Panther. I don't care if you commenting put on the Black Panther suit. As long as T'Challa is there. We were just talking about Batman Beyond. Terry may be in the suit, but Bruce is there. Like, you in the first episode, you see Bruce still in the suit, but he's too old to do. Not saying I want to see that story with T'Challa, but what I'm saying is, you didn't kill off Bruce to usher in Terry. You had Bruce right there and still had Terry McGinnis wearing the fucking suit. Right. Looking to Bruce for advice for everything. Every mission he went on, Bruce was in his ear, bro. Like, what? That's what we mean. So that last sentence to me was just extremely
but I don't think,
on the nose.
I mean, I don't think this is, and this is where I get so annoyed with some of this shit, is just none of this is. It's not like this is some fucking intelligent philosopher going on a rant that nobody... They're saying the same things that were said about the Black Panther franchise before Wakanda Forever.
Exactly.
It is a depiction of Afrofuturism. It is showing what can be done. It is culturally relevant. It is impactful in so many ways. That's everything everyone said walking out of Black Panther 1. Am I missing anything there?
No.
No, the only difference is they went, oh, hey, we also just watched the same basic videos anyone can watch on YouTube where Chadwick literally said all of these things, and now we're going to compile it. Because the thing is y'all fell for a Disney executive who said, this is how you represent a black man on screen.
Right.
They said, that is how you represent him, and all these people said, okay, yes, sir, you gave us, TJ, we're good. When it's like, y'all are missing the point, and all the point is what the fucking man said in interviews that are on the internet.
That we've played, bro. Played them.
That's what I'm saying, to where it's like, this seems so prolific, but all it is a fucking Black Panther 1 opinion, adding what Chadwick said about it, right? Fuck, I'm sure there were articles when Black Panther 1 came out, not even knowing, Chadwick's death or anything, of talking about the importance of the legacy of T'Challa, right? Talking all about what his character does, why it's important to have a king of the uncolonized land. Like, all of this fucking existed. It's just he died, there was shell shock, and then a bunch of Hollywood actors who happen to be black said, this is how you mourn a black man on screen, and they jumped immediately into tropes. Mm-hmm. And they all accepted it, and it's like I said the other day, a lot of people, it's divisive. Again, it is, if you say anything, oh, well, you're insulting a dead man. No, I'm not, but that's now the game. That's now the argument you're playing here, Again, there's a lot of white MCU fans that are like, I'm not going to argue with the black guys about the black movie. It's ridiculous, but it's, I don't know, they're just falling for tropes, man. Like, that's what infuriates me, is it's like, it's the same, he said it. His family said it, he said it. Like,
multiple times.
And sure, I bet you there were plenty of actors who were like, I don't want him recast, how hard that would be for me to have to do, then don't do the fucking movie. We're all adults here.
That's just what it comes down to.
Do we need to fire the whole batch, and if y'all can't do it...
Because I can already hear the comments. Because this was also said in that comment that I was just saying. The movie's made. If one more person tells me the fucking obvious, I am so aware that the movie is made. I've seen it. I know the movie's made. And here's the ignorant part on you commenting. If you're commenting thinking that I'm bitching about Wakanda Forever, like I needed to see him, because if you go back to previous videos, I've said I don't need to see him in Wakanda Forever. I just don't need him to be dead in Wakanda Forever. Like, do what you want to do with your Wakanda Forever story. Obviously, if you haven't casted or recast is still iffy for you, sure, but don't kill him. You can say anything you want. that's not putting T'Challa, because I could have sat in that film with ease, bro, knowing he ain't dead. He's just not in this film. He's off somewhere. He's doing something. I don't know. Dealing with the UN. I don't fucking know anything. If it took him a 2-hour movie to deal with the UN, that's fine. Plot holes. I don't care. Right. But don't kill him.
Well, and I think the bigger thing for me that just infuriates me is I feel like there is no dialogue. There's no discussion. There's no... Because again, you say anything recast, they're coming at you, right? But it's insults and it's this and that, right? That's why I feel like, we talked about it before, I'm feeling a little fatigued on it. Because I'm like, if we made an argument and then someone gave us a counter argument, right? Where we actually could discuss and have discourse on why this is a thing, I guess that could go somewhere. We could educate and talk and debate it. But literally, it is so petty, it has come down to, hey...
And I
think the character should be recast, for example, and it's immediately hit with this negative, like, I'm sorry, but it kills me because they made it about Chadwick Boseman. He didn't want it. They made it about him. Then they made this about his death. They took a franchise that he helped build that was culturally relevant, again, Afrofuturism at its finest, and then they tanked it and made it about this man's death, and if you say anything about it, you're a terrible person.
But see, here's my thing too on that. And that's just kind of what I said last night. Like, yes, are there days where I don't feel like talking recast? Not because I don't care about it, but because I'm just like, it can be an exhausting topic because I talk about it every day. Because like I said,
I didn't mean that.
No. I know what you're saying.
Or anything. I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
Ugh.
But for me, it does get to the moment where I'm like, I'm exhausted talking. I'm passionate about it. I want to talk about it, but it gets exhausting trying to defend the same points. But at the same time, that's where I come back and I say, no, it's not the same. And I've said this before. It's not the same. The things that our ancestors did for me to even be able to have a YouTube and do the things that I do, it's not the same. But had they accepted it because it was like, oh, well, our points aren't getting across. They're not listening. Even if we have a face-to-face argument with them, they're still going to feel that. If they had taken that and said, let's just be quiet, let's just, take whatever, then nothing ever would be resolved. Well, we would still be in the same spots.
I'll even give you the credit, too, of as this movement has continued to grow, now you're starting to have articles.
Because people are
literally... E-Man got to sit down with Nate Moore. Like, this is a community that has grown vastly, and it's on the backs of people putting in the work on these conversations, right? I'm sure there are plenty of people that will go to use this as a resource of, hey, you anti-recaster, listen to this guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a fruitless stance. It's not at all, right?
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't have the time to be fatigued.
Right. I'm just saying I was on Reddit the other day and I made a mistake. I was on a Reddit Marvel page and there was a conversation about Wakanda Forever, right? I think it was somebody celebrating that they hit a certain milestone in box office, right? And I was like, I made a comment about recasting. Oh boy. About how to make a new Reddit account. They came for me, and I was just like, but it was such a... It's like, the problem isn't that I had responses, it's that none of them were engineered into a conversation. None of it was trying to discuss opinions or sides or whatever. It was literally just like, fuck you.
That still goes back to the point I was just making there with our ancestors. Unless they want to, that's why I said what I said the last time, not the last time I think you were here, we talked about it, and I said, I'd stay out of those. I don't go in those anymore.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's a fool's errand. You're trying to change someone's mind that doesn't understand where this character comes from, that doesn't understand the lore, the deepness, and doesn't want to understand what this character means culturally, what this character, not just culturally, but the significance of how long this character's been a part of Marvel, period, just all those things. No, they don't want to again, as I always say, they see Chadwick, they see Black Panther 2018, MCU, nothing outside of it. That's what they see. And so it's just like I avoid all that shit. First of all, I have to get up here and give my energy to the people that do give a fuck about it. Right. So I'm not going to give my energy to the people that don't give a fuck about it. So it's just like, nah.
I feel you.
This is the last 2 paragraphs here. It says, suffice it. Did you read something you want to say?
Kind of. I'll let you.
Okay. It said, suffice to say, there was never a place for a right or wrong decision after Boseman's death. I can agree with that. And if his family is happy with the choices made in Wakanda Forever, that's as close as it gets to fulfilling Boseman's will. We don't know that, though. We don't know if they're happy with it, because I still would like to hear Simone, even though I don't think she ever will, I would love to hear what Simone really thought about that opening scene. His wife? Like, what? His parents? His brother? Like, what did they think sitting through that opening scene? Honestly, bro. Like, because everybody keeps saying, oh my God, that opening scene, it was just so moving. Like, bro, as a spectator that didn't know Chadwick and is weird, sure, that might have been enjoyable for you. But for his family and for, like, people like me and others, like, that wasn't, but specifically his family?
Right.
Like, come on, bro. Like, what? And it said, nevertheless, even if the sequel honors his legacy, it's possible to not feel Boseman's death wasn't partially used as marketing for what is in the end a money-making machine. It's impossible to not feel Boseman's death wasn't partially used as marketing for what in the end is a money-making machine. How many times have we fucking said that? The MCU's multiverse plans mean fans won't have to wait that long to see another version of Black Panther, but even then, the young T'Challa is not the... Who wrote this? What's her... Paul? Does that say Paul?
Paul Velasquez?
Well, good on fucking you, Paul. Then, because he said
Raul, maybe?
And that might be Raul. No other Black Panther will ever match... Hold on. Let me go back up. I'm sorry. Yes, but even then, the young T'Challa is not the same character the late actor built up. He still has to carry the weight his on-screen parents sought to take off his shoulders. No other Black Panther will ever match Chadwick Boseman's breakthrough, and perhaps embracing that head-on was the best way to continue telling a story too important for the MCU to put on hold. This is probably the best article I've seen on Recast, because it's very well written, it's very well worded, and the way that it's all the things that we've all recasters, every person that goes to bat for Recast T'Challa on Twitter, every content creator like myself and others that have said things on their channels, this is all the things we've all said. But again, I love it because it's coming from... I'm not a credible source. I don't, I'm just when you come to my channel, you think, oh, just another fanboy upset. This is a credible source. This is a person that has nothing to lose or gain from saying that the recast crowd or whatever is this or that. This is just somebody who's doing their job as a journalist and writing down what the fuck they saw.
Well, see,
I said this before we saw Wakanda Forever. I said that once the film was out and once you give it its 2-3 weeks, we're going to start seeing people say, but T'Challa probably should have been in that shit.
Well, and it's also a smart way to do it, and this is what I mean about having discourse and conversation. Look at this. It said that the movement may have been right about Wakanda Forever, right? And it's saying the Recast T'Challa initiative believed Black Panther was better off being left alive in the MCU. They're not sitting here going, anti-recasters are wrong. They're not insulting people. You want to see Black Death. They're not. It is this subtle suggested, hey, I'm going to give you a bunch of points as to why they might have been right about this, guys. Like, at least hear their points out. And that is where the dialogue can come in. That is where the conversation can break through to someone, right? That is why I'm shout out, like you said, to whoever fucking wrote this, because, like,
he did a very good job.
It explains
Raul.
the points perfectly without making an enemy of someone who doesn't agree with it. It's just like, hey, they might have been right, and here's why they might have been right. Have you ever thought about these things?
That's it.
It's the lead you into the conversation.
Understanding someone else's fucking plot.
Right, and if you're reading that in as unaggressive and unassuming as it is, if you're just reading that, you can't look at that with your angry lenses on of someone on the internet just said something. You're like, oh well. Fuck, that does make sense. Oh, he said that in a video? Let me go look it up. You know what I'm saying? That is how you create discourse, right? So shout the fuck out to this guy.
I'm telling you, this is a great.
I'm not knocking
this was
any
a
other
great-
recasters because I think a lot of recasters do it perfect, right? Where they'll just explain the facts, they'll get the information out there,
And that's
right?
great. I love
And
those videos.
Even we have cataloged where some were lighter
Shout
on
out
it,
Philosophical Pickle. He did one.
but some were lighter on the topic, and then other times we go very hard into, some shit on this topic, right? We go into cultural effects and things. Fuck your Emmett Till the other day, which is powerful as shit. So I'm saying sometimes it gets personal, right? But so I'm not knocking anybody else, but I think this is, in my opinion, the ideal way to introduce someone. And
it is.
they might have been right. And here, it's so unassuming.
That's
so
what I
props.
thought. Yeah, I thought it was great. Vaughn?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the right way to word it. So whenever you talk about black representation in this, I mean, this is everything that Chadwick probably didn't want, right? I mean, there is black representation in here. It's not the way he wanted. What you get with TJ, in my opinion, is you get the typical, unfortunately, what's very prevalent in the black community is now you've got this kid, this black boy without a father, and the only figures he's got in his life are the mothers. Shuri, females. Right.
Nakia.
I don't know. I just think, just kind of a little side thought, that Chadwick wanted that strong, not just black representation. I mean, I'm not. Anyway, not just black representation, but black male representation, and what a father figure in any black, white, whatever. I mean, in any race, in any household, I mean, you've got to have both, right? And I think, I don't know, it just goes deeper. Maybe that's getting too deep into it, but I think
all
for
the points.
For what Black Panther was created for, that the family, stable household, you gotta have the mom, you gotta have the dad. They both have their parts, and I think maybe that's something that not a lot of people realize whenever we're talking about recast T'Challa. Like, it's not, they did it in fucking little TJ, but he's a little kid, like I said, who doesn't have that father figure. Now, I mean, he's lost him because of tragedy and not, the reason that most kids,
you can go out for milk and not come back. Right.
Yeah, but I don't know, just kind of my.
No, I feel you, though. It's the same
of
thing with T'Chaka in the MCU, died from the explosion, right? And then T'Challa dies.
Killmonger's dad died.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Njoku.
all of them are left being raised without any father figure influences. And it's like, man, maybe this is just because I, played God of War recently, but like, a lot of it is grief and struggling being one parent and trying to figure it out and the emotional connection with your kids, right? And it's like, I don't know. Where this goes a step further is that scene where where T'Challa says, "You are wrong. You were wrong.
Right.
Why was he not here?"
Right.
And so that goes. But now we're going to get into the plot holes of the movie and how come nothing about this movie echoed anything from the previous movie. Everything about this movie canceled everything from the previous movie because you made a weird thing for your friend.
Right.
That's all it is.
And I've seen.
I mean, really, T'Challa would not want his son in the most protected nation in the world. Get out of here.
I've also seen. I saw on Brandon Avery's channel. He posted a video this morning. A video he did with Larry, and I forget the other dude's name. Forgive me. But he was addressing anti-recasters and how, and if you've ever seen Brandon's channel or if you ever watched any of B. Avery's stuff, B is very chill. He's very, like, his personality reminds me of you a lot. He's very laid back, very chill. He doesn't elevate his voice and yell unless, I've never seen him do it unless necessary. I've never seen him do it till kind of today. But he had just been getting so many different videos that, I guess I don't know what content creators, but other content creators were calling him out and talking about him and he's talking about comments that he was getting from anti-recasters saying like, you're misogynistic, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. And You know, when it comes to the anti-recast crowd out there and the people that, you know, come on to content creators and things like that, I think, this is not one of my typical recast. I'm not all over the place right now because I don't need to be. This proves points. I don't need this. This speaks volumes. Right. I think they forget we are people. Yes, we happen to have a platform, a YouTube channel. And I think the most dangerous thing about social media is that it gives you the illusion that you know someone based off of, like, you know, with celebrities. People think that they know Kanye West or any of these celebrities because you get a glimpse into what they say in a tweet, or they post a picture of their home, or personals into their closets or whatever. And you think because I saw this picture on Instagram that Kim K posted, or I saw this tweet that Donald Trump, that I know these people, that I'm close with. Just because we post a 20-minute video on 20-minute, 5-minute, whatever minute video, it could be an hour video, even in these lives. I love every single one of everyone that's in our community. I love all of our people in our community. And I want the people within my community to get to know me. But when you are an outsider of my community and you come in off of a 20-minute, 15-minute video and you think that you know us, and you think that you can have validity into saying you're this and you're that, and you watched a 20-minute video of me having an opinion, that in no way tells you shit about me personally. So I feel for B when he's having people come in telling him you're this and you're that and blah. Now personally, me, I ignore that shit. Because I know what I am. I know who I am. And I'm not saying B doesn't. He held it. He because it's been going on for a minute. This was just a boiling point where he blew up and you know, addressed it. But I think that something needs to be remembered from anti-recasters, even the ones watching this video and the replay. I think that it's important for you all to remember when you come into these spaces, the recast crowd. Yes, we may have a difference in opinion than you, like we were kind of talking about at the beginning. But we can talk about that in a civilized form. Either you can leave in agreement or you can leave the way you came in. But for you to come in on content creators' YouTube channels and say the disgusting things that you're saying about some of us, thinking that you know us from a 20-minute video. Oh. And that's where you have your Twitter fingers, because all y'all know damn well you wouldn't. You don't know me like that, but you wouldn't say that to my face.
Of course not, but I will say that. So that's the only problem when it comes to two things, really, when it comes to you putting out content for people on the internet, right? One is the internet.
Right.
They're terrible. It's a cesspool of and it's sad that happened to the guy, but it's like, it's the internet. Like, the reason we have a platform is because of people, right? And people will come for you, and there ain't shit you can do about it, unfortunately, right? You just gotta soldier on. That's like when they say, I mean, if you listen to any famous person who puts out anything on YouTube, they say, don't read the comments. Don't ever read the comments. Yeah. And especially when you get that big, because there are people who will just literally go off on people.
I mean, we've had,
right?
Personally, we had, what's her name? I had to block her on every I had to block her on TikTok, I had to block her on Instagram, I had to block her on Twitter, I had to block her on YouTube, because she was coming into our videos and just saying shit that had nothing to do with the videos.
Well, see, but that's also where a lot of people want something to blame, right? They want something to take their anger out on. They want people to feel as miserable as they do. That's how me saying, hey, I mean, you could literally, how perfect is this argument? Like you could say, I'll almost quote this. This movie was the perfect example of Afrofuturism, with Tchalla as a wonderful lead character for those to look up to, and that's what Chadwick wanted to continue. And then someone will literally turn around and go, so why do you hate women so much? And it's like, what the fuck, I didn't even say that.
And that's the point that B was making.
I didn't even say that to you. Yeah, bruh. But it does not matter, because that's what they're running with. That's why I'm saying you can't, the argument, or there's people who, and you've made this point a million times, feel like Chadwick. There's this thing. I gotta look up what it's called, but it's essentially like, I've listened to two specific comedians. I've listened to their podcast for like 5 years, right? Every single fucking week. I'm a part of that community, right? I get their jokes, the inside jokes, the comments on things, this and that. I don't know them.
Right.
I don't know them at all. I feel like there's an illusion like I do because I spent time with them, right? I don't know them from Adam. That's a thing that kind of happens with the internet, right? And you spend enough time with people. So there are people who literally feel like they know Chadwick personally.
That's what I was.
They champion it, like you've always said. They feel like they know that he was their friend. And how dare you say anything about his... You know what I mean? And it's like, it's this weird deal. And they just come at you, and they won't stop. You just, like you said, you got to block.
But see, this is the point I made on Twitter today. I posted this on Twitter. This is why I said this earlier, too. And I hope any anti-recasters watching this in a replay, something you all need to understand about me.
Parasocial relationships. Thank you.
No, there you go. Something that you all, I guess, maybe my community does know. Some maybe we've been together long enough to where you're starting to catch on to subtle hints of my personality. You will. I said this. You will never, ever, for any anti-recasters playing this, watching this in a replay, watching it now, even maybe. I don't know who we got lurking. You will never know, or you will never bully me, ever, bro, into changing my opinion. You can. There's nothing you can comment. There's nothing you can say to me that is going to make me change my opinion unless we're having a civilized conversation about it and you give me a different outlook. But when you come in and you're like, bro, y'all can say that I have thick skin. So you can say whatever, because at the end of the day, like I said, I don't know you. You don't know me. That's Twitter fingers that you have, because if we were face to face, those things aren't being said.
Right,
They're
exactly.
just not.
But if we're having a conversation and all of a sudden I call you an asshole, I just lost it. Something happened. Why did I just get so mad?
I think it's a poor way to go into a conversation, a debate, argument, anything like that, going in thinking I'm going to change this person's mind. Right? I mean, it's about knowledge, giving people the best knowledge. You personally can't change anybody's opinion or mind about it. Only they can do that. Now you can present them with facts,
right?
Or just a different, like we were talking about earlier, just a different viewpoint, and then hope maybe, maybe they'll, see a different side,
right?
Or just find, like I said earlier, find some common ground.
Right. Yeah.
But you lose your credibility whenever you go in to an argument, one, thinking that I'm better than this person. I'm gonna tell them that their opinion's wrong, and you badmouth them. You say all these things that you have no idea.
Right.
Like we said, we don't know these people from Adam.
Exactly. And I don't care to know you.
And why do you have that much energy to want to in the first place?
That, bro.
They just you said, you block these people.
Yes.
And that's doing that just kills their steam because they want you to react.
Yes, bro.
Right? That's what they want.
That's why I always say too, like, it's so, like, that what you just said, it's so weird to me, like the energy you have, but you claim I can't with you recast the recast crowd. I can't with y'all. Like, move on. But yet here you are.
Yeah.
You're in the space, bro.
You're on this page. I think you made a comment to someone who was like, I can't stand this channel when y'all and you're like, well, then you can see yourself off the channel.
Like, because he was like, he's like, you know what is inescapable? Your channel. But yet here you are, and you left a comment.
They're looking for that conflict.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro.
But see, and here's what's weird with people these days, though. And this is the last thing I'll say on this one is, and this kind of goes into our community and chat probably doesn't know this about me because I don't do it that. I love a good debate.
So do I. I'm a conversationalist.
You know me. I will argue just to fucking. But there's the differences. Like I remember, like on the there are multiple examples. Someone will say something. I'll be like, hey, nah, because this, and this, right? But I type out a sentence and I use words that are more than 3 letters, and so then they respond with something, and there's kind of, I can tell their comment got a little heated, right? And I will sit there and get another comment back, and they're like, why are we arguing? Or la-da-da-da-da, and I'm like, who the fuck's arguing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Have I insulted you? Have I said something mean to you? Have I insulted your intelligence or called you a name or cussed even? Mm-hmm. But immediately, everyone now, no one can communicate anymore. Social media has broken that down to where me simply going, no, I don't agree with that. Here's why. It's like anxiety builds up, stress builds up. He's coming at me. And it's like, nah, dude, we're just having a
conversation.
I had someone in the Discord the other day say that. He's like, why are we arguing? And I was sitting there thinking like...
Are you talking about Jaded? That was you and Jaded.
Yeah, but I sat there and when I saw that comment, I was like, when the fuck are we arguing? I was messaging back and forth, bro. When do we start arguing?
They take it personally because
That's what I'm saying.
There's no
You can't just-
accountability through the
You can't
screen.
just
There's no
speak.
accountability.
Well, hold on,
Right,
where were
that's
you going
true.
with that though? Because
What?
you just kind of sat there about whenever I said when did we start arguing. Did it seem like I was arguing?
No. I was
Okay.
about to say kind of exactly what Levon just said there when he said there's no accountability, that they don't like people like to think that you're arguing because like if you go against their point then you are arguing with them. It's like, no, bro, like I just have a difference of opinion than you. Like I'm not arguing with you.
Right.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
But it's so crazy because we've gone back and forth on Snap, right? You want a little voice messages and shit. And I have never once had to go, hey man, you're not mad at me, right? Because we're just fucking like, and we will be disagreeing the entire 2-3 hour thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not ever me being like, hey man, you're not mad at me for that video game that one of us liked and one didn't, or that, that thing. Because we can be adults and talk, but people can't do that no more.
Yeah.
It's literally like, you say recast Tchalla, they're like, oh fuck, he called me a slur, I gotta go whoop his ass. Like, I just don't get it.
I mean,
No,
the internet will always be one of the best and worst inventions. I think
Yeah.
it's more, obviously it's better. It's got more benefits than it has.
The negative.
The negative, yes. But
And as I always say when it comes to these topics, let us know down below in the comments what you guys are thinking. What are you thinking of the article that came out from Game Rant, that they were obviously pro recast there? That's one of the first articles I've seen. The first, articles from a viable insider, a viable trade that was saying, some good things about recast. So let us know down below what you guys are thinking, and